Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Now we spoke a bit. It's Carina from Breakfast Find Freedom, but you know that, right? And we spoke to Osa a few weeks ago about her sleep challenge. Let's put it that way. And today we've got Osa again, like our awesome Osa Schoenberg. We've got. Remember, we did all those beautiful. We did all those beautiful podcasts about twin flames and relationships. So just check them all out. They'll all be in the description box. But that's besides the point. What we want to talk about today is about triggers, how triggers can change the way you see things, change your life, change the trajectory of your life, apologize for that. And then what can you do about it? Well, stay here, right where you are, and listen to this. This is going to be a lot of insightful things. Hello, Osa. How are you today?
Oh, hi. Well, it's been a bit, and I'm so happy to see you again and to be here.
Me too. I know it has been a bit.
Yeah.
So that's perfect.
And I'm excited, yet I'm also. It's a very vulnerable thing, a raw thing, but I also believe that this can help people, and this is not just about my specific issue and stuff like that, but it can open up for people too in other regards, because I have some really deep, intense shit going on. I'm just gonna say sorry.
Yes. and that's what this is all about. It's about sharing your experiences so that people can relate to it and learn and grow from it. So they don't have to go. So that people don't have to. We don't have to go down deep to where you at. If you can see a bit of the triggers or whatever, you can take that information and grow with it or run with it, and you don't have to go through all the pain.
Right. Yeah.
So. Thank you, Osa.
Yeah.
So on that note, I just wanted to ask you, from the last time, so much has happened, and that's really great, right?
Yeah.
But what I really want to know is, let's talk about what is triggering this sleep deprivation. Wow.
Yeah.
But before I do that, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for being vulnerable, because it's really hard to speak about something that is so close to your heart and so scary on some levels.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, and I thank you so much for that, and I thank you for trusting me with this. That is like, I'm really honored that you are here and we can speak about this. So thank you for that. So on that note, tell me a bit about what you think triggered this and how do you know that?
Yeah. Well, I don't think I know, actually. but then it's still puzzle pieces that we put together throughout our lives, or about a situation or about a relationship, or whatever the situation is, right? But so just to briefly have a summation of the, what happened. So first of all, I completely, because I also know that there might be people coming in with, and many very well intended, right? Coming in with suggestions and, oh, have you tried melatonin? Have you tried meditating? I'm like, oh my God, and I appreciate that, but this is beyond, like, I'm just going to mention it. Anybody that I have seen, specialists in the field, amazing healers, like really, in the depth of things, the common thing is, I've never had anybody like you in here. So that is not fun when you're in such need of help. And it's been an extremely lonely place. Yet, yes, I have had people and have people around me who are very supportive, but it's also overwhelming for others because it is very extreme. So I completely lost the ability to sleep, like beyond insomnia. There's no word for it.
Wow. Wow.
And
It's
yeah,
incomprehensible.
I mean, it's literally, my human self can't even comprehend it yet. My being and my soul, because here's the thing, just to sum it up, and this happened September 26th, 2020. So it's 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
And it happened overnight. The trigger was with this twin soul, this very deep soul connection from that's the thread in, like a heavy duty thread, whatever one wants to call it, again, twin soul, twin flame. I try not to put a thing on it, because we keep on finding things and whatever, but there was something with that actually set it off. Now, on that note, I've always been a light sleeper, even when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had insomnia for over 20 years. And when it happened, it was even severe when I had the bouts of it. So I was a hard case then, even though I still had the ability to sleep. Now, I'm a very healthy person, right? So I go against a lot of norms, if you will.
Yes,
I'm
of course.
Clean eater person. Like I am very spiritual. Obviously, I'm very connected.
Yes.
Very clean eater. I work out. I mean, I've been in the fitness world, and so I meditate. I do deep breathing. I'm like, believe me, all the natural stuff and deep. And I'm also not afraid to go into deep places and healings and
Yes.
So then there's been a lot of events since this happened that has kind of kept it going. And also, I did lose my father end of 2021 in Sweden, and that didn't help. And I mean, I'm not saying it in terms of for me. I mean, obviously, grieving goes on and on, but I couldn't even go home to Sweden because of my severe and what this has done. And I couldn't have made the trip at that time. So here's the thing. I have been a very light sleeper since I was a kid. Being a Heyoka, very sensitive empath, I always have incoming. I'm a big thinker and I'm a big feeler. The therapist that I went to, and I really interviewed them, and because I'm so intuitive, I go by feel. So I interviewed a couple of them that I had found. He was excellent. He was great. And I figured maybe because I am so much in the subconscious and in the 5D or multidimensional realms and the connection that I have. But I'm like, there's that puzzle piece that to bridge the gap, So maybe he could help me find that.
Of course.
And I really appreciate him because he works out of integrity. He did not try to get more money out of me after the second time because he knew that he had done what he could have done. But he ended up saying, I've never had anybody like you in here, and I am astonished at how you're sitting here talking to me like you do. You're very intelligent. You're very and your level of knowledge in the subconscious is so great that I would invite you to be an inspirational speaker if I did stage work. So, which is on one hand great.
It is great, right?
But it's also not helpful in.
No, that's not helping you with your situation, right?
And it does help me, but it didn't put me to sleep because you get the recording. So I still listen to one of them. I have one of them, but it's not getting me to sleep. So that's the thing. And people are like, "Oh, but do you nap during the day?" No, I cannot sleep. Like I do not, I have lost the ability. It's in my nervous system that this has set itself in, right? And then people are like, well, you're at that age, so it's hormonal. I'm like, no, I have taken, it's just, and of course, when you're sensitive, little things can play a role and help something keep on, to make it more difficult to remedy it. But these are not, just to get that out of the way, these things are not it. So what I knew right away when this happened, I knew the trigger. I have, being such a sensitive empath and always having things come, it's been way too much. And then with all the personal stuff and living in this consciousness, and also in Los Angeles, I'm going to say, because that's a melting pot of energies. It's a hard knock school for empaths.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah, so my environment plays a big role too. And so that's one part. But now let's go back a little bit. So to get a little deeper into it, where it started, because I know that. So just briefly to mention, 152 lifetimes ago, not years, lifetimes ago. And this I've known for years. I was hanged as a man of the church. I was a man of the church, and this has come up a lot. And I actually ended up in the ER when I was just a little over 30 due to this. And this is when this was found out, because they didn't know what the heck was wrong with me and so on. So I'm not going to get into all that. But this is a big thread for me in this life. Yes. So as a man of the church, I found back then, people aren't getting what true spirituality is. This is a lot of man-made power over greed, so I decided I was sitting with it. And I knew that I was going to be hanged if I spoke, but I also felt that it was going to eat me up alive inside if I didn't. So I decided to speak. So I was hanged. This has been it's not like I'm living in it, but there's such a big thread, because this is very much a thread in my life, my whole life now, in this one.
Tell me, okay, I'm going to break, just stop you for a minute. Sorry, I don't want to miss your story, but I just want to ask you, how do you know that it's been a threat in your life up to this moment? How would you know? So how would someone out there know that this isn't like from me, this is something from another life or from somewhere else? How do you know?
Well, for me specifically, I've had so many deep experiences. I mean, I had an out-of-body experience at 4.5 years old, and I just had the clear cognizance. I'm very clear cognizant and clear sentient. And at 4.5, I mean, I didn't know what intuition was, but something inside me told me, and I didn't freak out or anything when this happened. This is clear as day today. And I was with my mom. I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything about this, not because I think that she's gonna think I'm crazy, but it's just not, because I have different things going on than my family, let's say, in these realms.
Yes.
And so I've had so many knowings in ways and things that you can't possibly know when you're a few years old, and then things throughout. So this is something that came up through a holistic session. When I actually found it out, it was something that was there in my system, but then it became clear as day. I mean, I had goosebumps every time I talk about this, and I have specifically seen this man in so many different scenarios.
Yes.
But I'm him, like soul-wise, I'm him. So how it's showed up in a more tangible form in this life, it's just that I have always had things where I feel very different than my friends. And like I see and feel things in ways that it's not weird to me, because it's me and I don't have another direct reference, But I have also had an understanding that I know that there's something here that many people will not understand. But now we live in a time where energies are getting pushed so hard. And I mean, this is not new again, but I'm talking about it more now. And obviously this has been a living hell for me, obviously too. So I have been meaning to come out and talk about it. I didn't know that it was going to be going on as long as it has. But I knew that it was attached to this. Then I have figured out more. And actually one thing hit me just a few weeks ago, which I know I mentioned it to you, so I will mention it now because it is attached to that.
Yes.
And I was literally walking to the car. I have been working out and I didn't think about any of this at all. And it just like, boom, it was like a lightning strike. And I'm just like, oh my God. They came and took me when I was asleep.
Wow, yes, that makes sense, right?
So what this is resulting in is that I don't feel safe sleeping. I don't feel safe on this planet in the being and who I am. Yet I have never been a skittish or paranoid or afraid person. In fact, the other way around.
Yeah.
In many ways. But now what this has done is I have, PTSD, for example. Like I never had anxieties, even though I'm a very sensitive person. I have never been an anxious person. Yeah, everybody can be stressed, but I have not been an anxious person. But now I'm dealing with things because of, obviously, nobody can quite imagine what it's like to, and people say, well, then just take something. Nothing has worked. Like, even stuff that would put out a horse, it doesn't work for me. So the panic of you don't even have something to turn to, even if it's something that you wouldn't want to do, but you still have something to turn to. So I was literally, I did not sleep. And I guess the thing in this, I guess this is something that people have been baffled, like I did a sleep study. I talked to, and they're like, we don't know what to do with you. We don't know. Like we've never had this. So, but here's the thing. I've never once hallucinated, which is astonishing.
That's amazing. Yes, that is because just on one thing, just hold that. I had sleep deprivation for whatever reason, my own. That's another story for another day.
Yes, please.
But I experienced sleep deprivation, and those hallucinations were real. They were real.
Yeah.
So for me, that is already like, wow. How do you, it shows you how this is so intense and so it's really a case on its own, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. But I know that I have been going through it for reasons because of all the depth of the things that I have experienced. And we're here. The human life is not easy. Even if you have awareness of so many things, we're still going through the humanness. So I'm very comfortable in the soul planes and in the out there. But it's like
I occur with that.
you can relate, and I think a lot of people can, because we have a lot of light workers and people. There are a lot of volunteering souls right now, and I'm one of them, because I have also found I did not want to come back here at this time, because I knew it was going to be rough. Like, I have figured all of this, and this is not through past life regressions or anything like that. I've had natural things myself. There have also been sometimes guided meditations and through sessions of Reiki and stuff, that things have come up. But I have found, like, I haven't gone into it specifically for these things. And it's just, there's so many volunteer souls here to help humanity ascend. And because it's happening so fast, because we haven't heeded the call before collectively, now the energies are so on. So my soul actually knew, because it is very old, that it was going to be rough. But you still agree to it. You have contract, you have other things that you're going to go through. And
it's about love.
Yes. And so, but part of me, and in my waking hours, I'm like, are you kidding me? And in my anguish and waking hours, I'm like, please, please, please. I'm talking to my higher self. I'm talking to my guides. I'm talking to the spirit, universe, whatever. Please, the next time, let me be a different energy, not back here, because I'm too dang tired in my soul. And I have been very impatient with humanity since I was a little girl. But of course, then things you go through life, and I've always been very optimistic that we are, it's shifting. The light is going to win. The love is going to win. But then with me dealing with this, it's been very dark, and how can it not be,
Yes. Yes.
So I have experienced that too. But I guess there is this something in me, and also what people, in other people's words, like most people, if not all, would have been gone by now. You are not. You have a lot of strength. Yes, I do, but I'm also tired of that strength a little bit, having to have it. And yeah, so it's been a lot of that thread, and then if I can just briefly mention things that in this physical reality, things that have shown up to make it harder for me to sleep. So first of all, Los Angeles apartment life, and in this, it's not ideal for me. So I am working on getting the mountains. That's why I started Mountain Wise Woman Project, which goes much further than this and deeper. But the mountains and nature, that's my church. That's my healer. That's where I've healed the most. And that's where my sensors are the best. So just to reflect back on that, it's been way too much. So whereas before I could separate what I'm soaking up from the collective, from others and specific people and so on, now it's been way too effing much. We're being real and raw here, right?
Yes,
so I don't want to say it.
Yeah, well, no, that's what it's about. That's what the show's about. Yes.
So it's been way too much. So because it's so much, I have not been able to, not always, but I haven't a lot of times been able to decipher what is mine and what is others and surrounding. And I have always taken on so much more than for my own good, because I am the empath, I am the healer, I am the nurturer. The adults have been coming to me since I was a few years old. And I have helped people with emotions and like mental, like without having a specific degree. And then reflect back to the hypnotherapists, he's like, wow, he was mind blown. So way too much.
Okay, so I just want to go back to something that you said, or I'll paraphrase it. I'm not going to quote you, right?
Right.
You were talking about, you had that trigger where you realized the connection between you and your twin flame, twin soul, what soulmate, for the want of a better word, okay,
right,
whatever
right.
it is that people believe. What I'm thinking now, what's came to my mind is, a lot of times when you have this kind of awareness, it sort of changes things, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you get that healing. Whereas with you, that didn't work. You have the awareness, yet you still have the situation at hand. Why do you think that there's that almost that disconnect?
So because of the differences in the spiritual journey with him and his wounding, that I was trying to be there for, to shine light on his soul, because I am a soul. Like, I've always had the ability to see people's higher self and their soul, and that's I'm a soul shine guide. And and because of this extremely intense and picking up on things, I also knew that we're here, regardless of what happens between us in this life, we are here to break. I mean, everybody is, but we're here to break some major ancestral and
generational curses.
Yes, and wounds and patterns, but also hold and protect what's sacred. Now, and he knows that to a degree, and we have certain things, and I'm not going to get into details because then I would give away certain things here. So we have a lot of this, and again, our upbringings and all that, very different. So it's not, he had a lot of toxicity, I did not. But there are still things that we're here to break, and transform and shift from generations, and so on. And I knew that right away with him, or a few weeks in, that I was here to help him also realize in the spiritual realms, because he's very aware in the physical. So, and then what happened was, he also, even though it was extremely painful, he helped me realize my gifts even further, and I knew that. I was aware of all of this. But here's the little thing that happened here. The masculine and the feminine, right? I did not feel that what happened that on that day when it triggered this, and then dating back, even though that's just a trigger, it wasn't it in itself, but it was the trigger.
Yes.
For me, I didn't feel safe, that whole safety thing.
Yes.
And then whatever happened that day, it was such a deep thing, and I didn't feel safe with him in ways that reflected back on it. It shattered. I don't want to use the word shattered, even though it was a very crazy and intense and roller coaster thing. There was still a sense of safety there, because we have so much history, and there was this thread that no matter what, that's still there, and that was seemed like it was out the door, that I couldn't trust that in my soul.
Okay.
So that's there's much more to it, but I'm just giving
yes. No, that's right. It's just, I just needed to bring that in.
Yeah.
And I suppose then I have to also take it to the next level, where a lot of times we're aware of things, but if we don't actually get to the point of language, now is always a problem, okay? To deal with it, for the want of a better word, to actually grapple with it and work with it. Sometimes it doesn't go away. So sometimes awareness on its own doesn't do
enough.
the healing.
No,
it's not enough. Yes,
but mind you, now I have not been somebody who's not dealing with it. I'm not afraid to go into places and deal with it.
Yes.
But
yes, no,
I have done a lot, but it's even though I have such a and here's the thing. This is what I'm going to mention, and this is probably something that you yourself can relate to, being a sensitive and an empath. I am also somebody, because I've had these knowings, if you will, so early on, and taken on much more responsibility, because I feel that responsibility. Empaths usually do, because we know things that can help, emotional and mental pain and anguish, and we are healers. So I am also that person that, yes, I do have a lot of strength. I am a very strong person, and emotionally I am. But it was too much for me. It was literally like I thought to myself, yeah, this is too much, but I can do it because I'm strong enough. I can handle it, and because I'm aware of it. Yes. So that's something that, and even if you're aware of it, say you have people project shit on you like there's no tomorrow, and you don't even take it personally because you know where it's coming from. To have all that come at you constantly, that's very damaging still. And for a sensitive person, it brings the energy down, no matter how much you have to.
And that's
it. And you're not vibrating in that overall. Of course, we all have things.
Yes.
But I've never been that person to vibrate in the dark. And if when you go there, then I bring myself up, and I do, like, I don't let it run me. But it's been, oh my. So that responsibility, that's something that I've had to work on a lot, and because I'm there, I'm like, oh, I can be there. And even in my own panic, despair, deep, like, what I can't get away. I need a break. I need to sleep. And you can't. So that is when you feel like you're about to go crazy, even though I'm not. But even in those moments, and being around people, and they are concerned and they are trying to help, I'm still seeing their stress for me. So I have such an awareness at all time, and that's burdening, even though it's also really cool. On
yes.
What, but
yes,
it needs to be. So for me, again, it's a lot about the environment and other stress factors that obviously then later on, over a year later, I'm grieving my father. I'm grieving not being able to go and physically be there with my family. And of course, even though spiritually, I'm like, well, it's about energy and it's about my heart, and I'm still there, even though not in physical form, and that's what matters. We still go through our human stuff, and it's hard as shit.
Yes, it's very hard. And I have to say, environment is so important, especially on this level where you feel like me. Sometimes I'm out, I'm about, I'm interacting with people, and life is great, and then suddenly I get home and it's like, whoa, what on earth just happened? I need to nap. And because you're just absorbing all these people, because they're coming into your energy, and you're giving and you're giving and you're giving, because that's what you do, right? You have to give light, you have to give light. And they just take everything, and it's suddenly it's like, and that's why for me, the ocean, I've got the ocean.
Right.
The ocean is
the mountains. yeah.
And I feel that. So that's why I can feel. That's why I'm saying this, because I can feel where you're coming from, where I can escape to the ocean, and I do that. A week, if a week goes by and I think, oh, why am I feeling so? Okay, I'll go to my church, all right, and I'll recharge.
Right.
But I'm in an open area. You in LA, and the energies there are incredible. I mean, it must be crazy stuff with everything that's happening, and the fast pace, and the different people and energies. So I can just say, like, I commiserate with you, but I can just imagine. I can't even imagine what you're going through, and then having the sleep deprivation on top of it.
Right.
Like,
and and here's the other part. And then when people, this is when I get like, oh, okay, if it would be that easy, you don't think that I would have freaking done it? So people are like, oh, why don't you just move? Well, again, I'm not going to go into all my personal stuff, but also what this has done is in so many, this has affected my whole life, right?
I'm sure.
And then also on top of it, it's not just living in LA, the actual place where I live, across the street is like the center of the fireworks, the M80s, which is like a smaller bomb. And that's where I have gotten PTSD, because this is my home, even though I'm working on getting out of here in the midst of everything. All night sometimes they could shoot off fireworks and M80s for months. Wow. So just that alone in itself, and they wouldn't do anything. And a lot of, because of the times we also have been going through, and like helicopters circling a lot over here. That's very loud and disturbing. And this disturbs everybody around here. But of course, for me, it goes even deeper. I've even talked to teenagers in the building. They have a hard time sleeping, because of this. But for me, it's gone so deep. And I have actually had experiences with, there was an apartment that I lived in years ago where a neighbor kept me up on purpose. Like, it was literally a thing. And eventually I got out of there because I had just rented it. And I was really nicely trying to talk to them. And so I was kept awake, so this has been a bit of a theme in different ways in my life. But now this has been so again. But here's another thing. If there's an earthquake in the middle of the night, which we had a few weeks ago,
yes, that's true. You did have one, right?
Those things don't faze me. I mean, unless it would be human. I didn't move, and I actually went back to sleep.
It wasn't a big one though. I think it was 7.
No, it was big enough.
I think it was 6. Was it 6.4?
No. It was 4 point something, but it was close to where I live. So it's still, it shakes you up. And some people like, ooh, I didn't shift in bed. Before this, when I was flying, the longer flights, I've never been able to sleep on planes. I mean, that's just so traveling far to me and home and here and all that. It's not fun, but I could do it. And I could nod off for like 10, 15 minutes or so. Guess when I sometimes did that before this? During turbulence.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm so the opposite. So those things, like the nature stuff, Mother Earth and those things, that's totally, but living in the collective humanity, that's extremely
it is
taxing. So just to bring that in a little bit, because again, I have never been an anxious person, and but this has brought on and also just to mention this, I have always also set boundaries, because I know that somebody's going to be like, oh, you don't set boundaries. And, oh, I set plenty of boundaries and I say no. And now with the past life connection, even more so. Yes, I did accept more than I should have sometimes, just to kind of keep the peace and to be, because I also, the feeling of, oh, I can handle it. But believe me, I said, and now those boundaries are even more. So it's not about that. That's not a problem for me. Because a lot of people, we learn more as we go, right? And I have had to learn that also. Mm-hmm. But for sure, that's not like, ooh, I don't say no to anything. Or when we talk about we're out and about and we give, and it's like, it's yes, but it's not to the point where I would be. But again, it's all been too much. It's been too much, because I could so differentiate before, and because of everything put together, I haven't been able to differentiate a lot of the things. And so and so in any event, because I know we need to wrap this up too, just to say, there are so many different components, but this is the root cause. But then there's it's still a work in progress. Let's just say that, even though I'm better overall, it's still a work in progress.
Well, the good thing is that you're better. The other good thing is that you're aware of this, and with awareness comes healing. Okay, over time,
right.
Especially if you do the work.
Right.
And the other good thing is that there's only one puzzle piece, and together we might be able to find it. Who knows? I'm not going to give you advice. Okay. I'm not going to tell you go and use this and go and do that and go and do that. That's ridiculous. I can't give you advice for something that I don't understand. I mean, I understand sleeplessness, but not to this point.
Right.
And I don't even know why I said that. But what I'm saying is that
thank you.
That was the conversation, by conversing.
Thank you for saying that, because that's acknowledging me and what I go through, because a lot of people... it's been a very lonely place, and a lot of people think that they can say that, they can say, oh, I can only imagine, yet it's like, well, but do this, or, oh, but you need to do that, or, oh, you need to. So for you to say, to acknowledge that you can't quite, that is actually something that I'm grateful for.
Oh, thank you. That's probably why to say it, yes. Because, but that's also something as an empath and as a coach and a healer. It's sometimes you want to just give and give and give and cure the world and heal the world and fix the world or whatever it is. But you don't realize that sometimes, but you can't just impose your healing, even though it's with good intentions a lot of times.
Yeah.
But some people aren't ready for that, and they don't want it, and that's something that I had to learn the very hard way.
Right.
Because it boils down again. You were talking about boundaries. It boils down to, on some level, to respect of self and others. Because if you don't respect yourself, you want to just pour yourself into someone else, and you don't realize that you have to have those boundaries, and you have to respect yourself and
for both self and for other people.
Yes.
And that's also something that I have that I have been very aware of, and that I have said to people so many times, clients and people that are non-clients, if you will, that I've been there for in these regards. I say, I can show you this. I can, but it's up to you to make the choice of what to receive from it, or what to see or not take from, or whatever, and what you do with it. Nobody can help anybody unless you actually want it. And even if you receive whatever help is there, you still need to do the work yourself. Nobody can do the work for you.
Yes. You've got to be at that point where you can receive it, and you have to do the work.
Right.
And one of my clients the other day said to me, oh, thank you. You saved my life. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am. And it was like, it was really great. And on some level you can say, wow, thank you. I'm so great, on some level. But if you really think about it, I said to her, no. I mean, you did the work. I'm here as a facilitator, as a support, as a guide.
Yeah.
You did the work. You did this.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, it's not even about me. It's about a higher power, universe. We're going to words again. Whatever we believe in, works through me. So it's not even about me. It's about energy, and it's about you being open to hearing the message and to actually doing the work.
Yes.
So that was very empowering for both of us. And it's so easy to go into ego and say, oh, yeah, I'm so great. Look at me. Look at me. I'm awesome.
And on that note, just not to interrupt you, but there are a lot of big personality, spiritual healers, if you will, motivational, inspirational, that have a lot of great things, but there's also some of them have that ego behind it still. And that is, and even though I'm like, when I'm saying that I've had these knowings, that's not me saying that from an arrogant place. And I think you understand that part, but I want to make that clear. And if anybody wants to read it that way, hey, then that's up to them.
That's the way it is. It doesn't matter.
But knowings that, again, that I couldn't possibly have, like I knew from a very early age that I'm here to help humanity in, in different ways. So that, what a beautiful thing. And that just happened too. It is such a beautiful thing because, and that's a lot about timing. And of course it's the connection and the personalities too, and where you are. Because, say for example, with the twin soul, if we're going to call him that, there were times when it was like, and I said something like to very and non-forceful, and I'm not saying that lightly, like literally I'm just, this is what I'm offering.
Yes.
Whatever not imposing it. And then sometimes it was just like, boom, boom. But then there were many moments. And after the fact where there was a call or there was a like, you know what you said, what you shared, what you showed me, because it doesn't just have to be words, right? At all, by any means.
No.
It's like there were light bulb after light bulb after light bulb, and that's so beautiful. That's when you also get that yes, and that's when you yourself feel okay. Now I'm gonna continue with what I have been shown for this person, and then when it goes like the other way again, if you will, or there's a complete shutdown, or their stuff, and there's just a close up, then that's when you feel it yourself, like, oh,
yes,
it's like it's a disappointment, but yet then you got to remove yourself from that, because again, it's not really on you. No. It's that person not being able to receiving it, and you can't. You got to surrender that and let it go, release it.
Yes, and know that like
impact is
I
there.
know it sounds very fatal. Yeah, and also know that everything happens in divine timing,
right.
and everything works out perfectly. And I know that sounds very like Pollyannish, all right, but
it's true.
That's just the way it is. And even if you try and push things.
Yeah.
The more you push, the more it as you know, it's like pushing. You have to just let it go and know that it, if you, it'll come together when it's meant to, or not. Right. I always think of there's a quote by Frederick Perls, I think his name is. Anyway, he says, I don't know what I just not part of it. I'm paraphrasing. Like, you are you, I am I. Okay, I am me, you are you. If by chance we meet, it's great. If not, it was not meant to be,
Yeah.
It just is.
And sometimes whatever it is. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes. And sometimes sometimes it's sad, because you think, oh no, like I'm missing that person, but we have to trust that that's just the way it is.
And that is the thing that, of course, even though I have such an awareness and surrendering and seeing what's what, and still taking things from, well, this was supposed to be that, and like this and that. Of course, it's still, since in this case, this person has been in my field since I was a young girl. Like, I literally saw and felt, even though I didn't know at the time. And then I think I mentioned before sometime that there were 3 clairvoyant women that I got together with 10 years before I met him, that described him to a T and said there's going to be a very significant man coming in. And but then you might think that it's for other reasons And that's where maybe that disappointment and the heartache and because you know the depth of it and what it could really be, and so powerful in union or in unison, whatever that would be. But then you still need to just like, you know what, it was meant for our own, whatever our own. And again, even if we never see each other again in this lifetime, or there's anything at all, then this is what it was meant to be. Even though there's painful things,
Yes, yes.
it all leads to something else.
Yes, and that's what we've got to believe, that there's always blessings in every situation, no
Right.
matter what. We just have to find them.
Yes.
So everyone comes into our lives, and this is controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway. Everyone that comes into our lives are angels, okay,
Yeah.
in some form or another. And
Right.
sometimes those angels they seem like devils, but they are the biggest angels, because they teach us the biggest lessons, and they love us the most.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, that's controversial, but that's what I'm going to say.
But I mean, we need even the dark, the dark, because I'm gonna say this because I've been seeing and feeling so much, and especially going through this, and also putting it all together with things from very significant past life stuff.
Yes.
The darkness is real. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, but love and light and everything. No, the darkness is real in humanity. The darkness is real. But that's why we're here to, and especially the light workers. And I'm saying that because there are so many types. We then from your perspective, maybe one can say, well, everybody is a light worker. Well, I don't really see it in that regard, even though it can be viewed in that regard. But the dark forces, if you will, they are here to then further things and transform and teach and heal, even though it's in the moment doesn't seem like that. But that's where the light comes in stronger. So like a phrase of, we're all broken, that's how the light comes in.
Oh, I've never heard that. That's very nice.
So as human beings, we all have stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But so it is about, but obviously we're here to ascend so that the light is, because humanity has been overall fairly low vibrational, like collectively, and it goes in spurts when there's a race of collective vibration, and then I'm saying there are individuals with a lot of high vibrating energies, and now there's a lot of us here because we are needed greatly. If there weren't so many of light and withstanding, because here's the thing, there are a lot of people who are, and say for example that person, beautiful soul and heart and a lot of light, but unfortunately, and I pray, I have no idea, but I pray, and I have said that to him many times, I pray that you come and let the light really shine, that you choose for that to and go away from, because the whole victim mentality that can be talked about for other people, but we need to take responsibility to heal, or despite of, and it's not taking away again from the dark and the shit that's been done to us, not at all.
No.
But it's ultimately our responsibility. What are we going to do with it?
Yes.
And it's a process, of course, and it can be like this, but it's not a straight line. But that's ultimately what it comes down to. So to reflect back on your story, you were there as a guide, and they were receptive at the time and you, with your beautiful gift, were able to have them receive it, whereas maybe another person, they wouldn't have resonated with it.
No.
Also.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
But there's still the timing. Yeah.
Always. So on that beautiful note, I think we would probably have to discuss like responsibility and victimhood. Those are such big topics, and maybe we'll have another session at some time, because this is fun. I'm loving these. Thank you so much, Osa. This was beautiful. It was enlightening, and we're going to keep in touch to see how your journey plays out, because we're going to win this one. We're going to win this game. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. That warms my heart, because it's still like this, right? Even though it's you know, it's there's still a lot to this. So yeah. So thank you so much for that. That's beautiful, and I receive it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have an awesome day. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. Remember, we'll see you next week, and have a good one. Bye.
Namaste.